New York fans are not very happy with New York baseball right now. The New York Mets are under 500. We've heard enough from Steve Cohen this year. He likes to speak. Yeah, as we all know about Mr. Steinbrenner, may he rest in peace. He loved to speak too. Multi-billionaires that obviously think they're bigger than their team. And I'm sorry, I don't want to throw Steve Cohen under the bus, but I really do believe that if Steve Cohen wanted to say something, wanted to sit back, he could have waited to the end of the season. Don't worry about what the fans are questioning him about Verlander and Max Scherzer and trading off those pieces because he just didn't think that they were ready to win this year. But then coming out, and the stories are coming out now that they don't expect to win until 2025 or 2026. The same guy that came out a couple of years ago saying that in the next 5 years, I expect to win a championship. That's not what you sold to the fans, and that's not what you're telling us now.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's really been disappointing for New York fans. And with the Mets, I mean, come on, you're coming into the season with a lot of high hopes. You know, obviously with adding Verlander to the mix, you know, the team up with Scherzer, and just a side note, you know, I'm from Detroit, so I'm a Detroit fan. So I
feel bad for you.
I've seen Scherzer and Verlander together, and you know the success they had. It's definitely been a disappointing season for the Mets. And now you have both Scherzer and Verlander gone, and playoffs are pretty much out the picture. And you know, like him saying he doesn't expect them to win the 2025 is kind of mind-boggling, you know, to me. Basically, before going into the season, he had high hopes. And honestly, I mean, with what they have now, I mean, it's just, I don't know what it's going to take for them, you know, to get to that success, because being in the division they're in, I mean, you got to deal with Atlanta, who's it was a team that's stacked for the past few years, and they're always going to, seems like they're always going to be a team that's going to contend. Philly in the mix now. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Mets, you know, will do in the National League, you know, down the line. But I myself, I expected them to at least make the playoffs this season with the team.
They have the highest payroll in baseball. The highest payroll in baseball by I don't know, like
70-something million.
Yeah, almost $75 million. And the guy spent $1.3 billion in 2 years on players that are not even on the roster anymore.
They had a $131 million trade deadline shipping of.
It's ridiculous.
Combined with Scherzer, Verlander, the two outfielders, Robertson, and all those.
When's he trading Lindor? I can't wait to see what happens in the offseason with this roster. And Pete Alonso. And I feel for Pete. I feel for him. I really do, because he knows that the Mets are going to wait until the offseason. They're going to give him an offer, but they're not going to give him the offer that he thinks he's worth. But nevertheless, the fact is, when you look at Pete Alonso and what he's done for the Mets, he got rid of all his social medias. He's been really the spokesman for the New York Mets. He's been everything the Mets need him to be. He's hitting 40 home runs a season. He's giving you almost 120 RBIs a season for the last 3 years. He's got the power numbers. Yeah, he's not hitting for average, but power hitters are not like Aaron Judge. There are very few guys like Aaron Judge. That's what makes Aaron Judge the player that he is. But nevertheless, he's done everything they wanted him. And they don't want to give him anything. They don't want to pay him. They're paying guys from another team that are not even on the team anymore.
No, yeah. You hit it right on the head with Alonso. You know, I feel like
I feel for Alonso. I feel for him. I'm giving my heart, man. I'm not even a Met fan. I feel for him.
Now he's definitely in a tough situation there. Like you said, with his power, being a power hitter, and you know, getting those home runs and RBIs, and they don't even have those players that they brought into New York anymore. And just to see what they'll offer him at the offseason, like you said, you know, it's not likely that they'll offer him what he expects. Even though I think he should deserve it, because he's put his time and efforts there, so he should get rewarded respectively. But definitely feel for him, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, the moves that they make again, and if the moves that they make, even if those players will stay on the team and going into the new season next year.